Hello, Twin Minds here. Welcome back to Autonauts. When we last left our poor animals, they were starving and they're not doing too much better right now. But they are done doing what I wanted them to do for now. So they're just eating the leftovers of the grass as it pops up. As you can see here, I have all of my happy cows and sheep doing their thing and pooping. The milk is full and the fleece is full from sharing the sheep. I also have 2 full stacks of hay bales. Those actually were left running with a couple bots that I just did a quick simple automation on while I was working on my other project of clearing out the rocks. I cleared out this set of rocks and they were just working on the grass that was around it. And I also cleared out this set of rocks. And this is the result of both of those piles of rocks. They are a lot of rough stone blocks. 30 to 40 in each one of these stacks, and I even processed a couple of them into the shaped stone blocks just because I could, really. I don't have a plan for these yet, but I do believe they're going to be needed in the near future, so they're just going to sit until I figure out what to do with them. But I now have more building space if I want to make use of that. I also figured out transplanting grass. It's easy, so I didn't have to try very hard, but still. I cleared all the grass around here now that I know that it's easy to replant, and I was going to clear this out, but apparently I forgot. But that's fine. Also, the bees are full, and I also figured out the solution to spawning new nests. Ultimately, the answer is for a lot of the critical materials, bee nests, farm animals, that kind of stuff, if there is none left available on the map will respawn a handful more, so you have them. So I just collected up the ones that I found in case I want to do more beehives at some point. So that's that. Bees are done, at least as done as I care to at the moment. And you'll notice here, I unlocked beehives from completing the bee plan. These got unlocked. So those will probably get built at some point or another when I need more bees. I believe they just double the speed of production of honey. So once I need to focus more diligently on honey, we'll get beehives planted up. I have a couple ideas of what I want that to look like. We'll see if that ever pans out. Who knows? I think that is it for... Oh, that's not it for what I did. I also took the time to breed up 10 each of the alpacas and the cows. I also learned something interesting. It's completely irrelevant as far as I can tell, but you'll notice there's multiple different sizes of them. And even more stark differences with these guys. The breeding process does have a very slight inheritance in the size. There's no other genetic inheritance that I can tell but size. So if you breed up 2 relatively large ones, you'll eventually lock in a larger size, and you can breed those up to be even larger or smaller depending on your preference. So I focused on larger for the beefaloes just because I like them. But I left a couple of the smaller ones. Might set those free and work on just a large herd just for funsies, and maybe breed up a bunch of small alpacas just for the opposite end of that. I left the cows and sheep at whatever because I didn't learn the breeding process at that time. So they're just whatever sizes they came out at, and that's fine. But I thought that was an interesting little tidbit, considering there's no other purposes to breeding genetics or anything like that I can tell. Maybe if there was some sort of productivity bonus, that'd be kind of neat. But I doubt it. Just a little fun mechanic. So the next thing that I wanted to do, even though a lot of my infrastructure is still kind of haphazard and scattered, I wanted to go to the next tier of colonists. That requires a couple things. First thing is getting them their new house, which is the stone cottage. So we'll get one of these built up and see how that goes. I do believe that this is a 6-stage process. So we've got my bots going on that, and we'll just time-lapse this whole process here. Ah, I see. We're not going to time-lapse the whole process because it requires things I don't know how to make yet. Chimneys and fireplaces. I do believe those are in the masonry bench, so I need to get that in a building. While I'm here, you'll probably notice that I did update my workshop a little bit. I removed a lot of the external doors. They were causing more problems than they were solving. And I created a throughput through the center of the workshop. Tinkering with the walls here to try to guide the bots a little bit more, because they will take a diagonal path if needed, even though the crude road path is faster due to the speed increase. So I'm kind of guiding them a little bit more and seeing if that helps. More experimentation than anything. So this is where my rough stone blocks will come in handy. Let's see what the cost is for these. Stone and mortar. How do I make mortar? That's a good question. I might need to look that up 1 second. Well, I knew it wasn't going to be that easy. So that looks like we need something called a mortar mixer, which is probably in here somewhere. Mortar mixer. There we are. So let's make one of those. Alright, crude mortar mixer. And mortar is clay, sand, and fresh water. Well, fun. Okay. So I have my clay source over here. I have a sand source over here. And I have, well, what's left of my sand building bucket crew is kind of scattered to the winds now that I look at it. So let's set up a little mini mortar mixing station. I can go, I don't know, there. Sure. I do believe the next best bet also would be to do a couple silos. So let's do a silo stack there. You are my rogue charger bot. Alright, rogue charger bot has been moved to this general area. I also need a bucket bot. Now I have these lovely fellows here. These are my new robots that got unlocked as part of completing the various animal things from the last episode. We've got Rosie, we've got R2, and then we have, I believe, K9. I think it's an older Doctor Who reference I'm not very familiar with. But still, lovely robots. Unfortunately, they are Tier 1 robots instead of Tier 2. So they're going to be limited in usefulness, but that's okay. Let's set the dog to filling up the silo with sand. So grab a bucket, get some sand, dump it in here. There we go. There we go. If your hands are full, I'm trying to swap out my logic just to see if anything's better. If your hands are full, go get sand, throw it in the thing. If your hands are not full, go get a bucket. And the buckets are going to be over here for now. Probably should move that a little bit closer. And then I'll shift those buckets, and I'll be transporting buckets manually for right now. I just need some sand going. Turns out you have to do a repeat loop to do all that. Alright, dog's gonna go dig up some sand. That looks really silly with the bucket in his head. But good dog. Good dog. Alright, then I need a bot doing all of these other things. Let's do Rosie, because sure, why not? I will do a temporary sand storage over here. Oof, the logistics on all this is unpleasant. Alright, Rosie, you are going to grab a bucket from here, and you're going to pick up sand, and you're going to, let's just say, dump it straight into the mortar. I don't think I'll do an interim silo for the moment, so dump that into the mortar mixer here. That should be it. I'll just give you my bucket that's already got stuff in it, and go. Ah. Whoops. Logic on that's not quite right. If your hands are full, and if your held object is empty, another if-else here. If your held object is empty, go get sand. Otherwise, throw it into the mixer. And she's not going to be able to do that because there's already one sand in here waiting for recipe. Okay, that's good. Grab R2 over here. R2's responsibility is going to be getting clay until hands are full, dumping it into the mortar mixer until hands are empty. Do that forever. Okay, good enough. Then we need fresh water. This is one that I don't have any solid plans or experience with at the moment, but it should be relatively easy. So let's start with... No, this will be fine. Sand storage was probably an unnecessary extra step. I could have probably had Rosie go get sand directly from the shore, either direction. And in fact, having Rosie go get the sand from this shore is probably faster anyway. Let's change that up a little bit. So instead then, since that was just a whole silly logical thought process there, this will be easier for a short term. There. If your held object is empty, go get sand from the beach. And, hang on. Nope. Stop. 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 Just take my bucket. There. Okay, that's better. And now we can do the same thing with fresh water. I don't have any spare bots. So, at least I don't have any spare lower tier bots. So we'll just use this guy for now. I'm going to redo this entire thing at some point. Probably with multiple logistics chains, but that'll be fine for now. I need to come over here and grab a bucket. That's seawater, so fresh water's going to be over here. And then come over here and dump it in the mortar mixer. Now we can do, if hands are full, do these things. Do these things. If hands are empty, go do that. Let's do another one of the if held object is empty situation. There. That should all be good. Good. They're doing what they need to do. So we now have 4 mortar. And I need 5 for each fireplace and for each chimney. Cool. That's going to take a little bit of time. Ah. You also can't pick up mortar by hand. That is also a bucket situation. Also cool. Alright, so we grab mortar with a bucket and then dump it onto the masonry bench. That needs to happen until your hands are until your held object is empty. That needs to happen until your held object is full. This all needs to happen depending on what state of your bucket you've got. And do all that forever, I hope? Oh yeah, this is going to take some time, because I set that up for a long hike this direction. Definitely going to need to set up storage of the mortar and transport of the mortar. You can obviously do storage in the silo, but then transport is going to require a separate silo and a bucket. I know you can also do a wheelbarrow for that, but it requires a material I don't have yet, and it requires me to do some research with the next tier of colonists to get that. So right now we're doing manual buckets. Might have to set up a bucket brigade or something like that so it doesn't take so long. Alright, we have our first fireplace. Oh, interesting. If you cancel the job with the mortar still on the table, it just disappears because it doesn't come out as a physical item. That's good to know. Wasted mortar. Great. So now we have our first chimney as well. That should finish off this tier. Great, and we just need 10 stone, which, how convenient of you. Alright, next tier requires 3 logs, which I have a bot for, and 4 stone. Easy enough. Great. Next tier is straw, which I have plenty of. Great, and then we need a door frame and a window frame. Neither of which I believe I know how to make currently. Ah, I do know how to make them. Great. That means I need more structural workbenches. Wonderful. Alright, door frame, window frame. Panels, panels, more panels. I love the panels. Here we go, door frame and window frame. Dang it. I need another window frame. Alright, second window frame. Man, I love these. All the panels and square frames, they're just so delightful. Great, and we have the first stone cottage. It's a lovely little thing. It's very pretty. Now we move it to its new home. I have these little areas here set up to what will ultimately be the largest size home for our colonists. But for right now, I'm just going to use them as the place for these things to be set. I don't know where I'm going to move them. I'm probably going to have them in multiple different places over time, but they're here like this for right now. Then we need a colonist. I have many colonists, and many of them are still in their old their old homes that I'm probably not going to keep going. So let's remove one of these guys. We'll take Mochi here. And Mochi's going to get dropped right here. Colonist evolved. Mochi, level 4. And for level 4, we need leisure. Colonists now give wove times 1,000 if you meet their needs. And he's so big. Look at the size of that dude. He's massive. I love him. Okay, so now leisure. Leisure's the next step in this whole process. Obviously, I need a lot more work required to get all of these filled up with the stone huts. But for right now, the one is fine, because that was a lot of work, and I'm going to need to drastically increase my production of these panels if I want to have any semblance of sanity. And I apparently have some logic problems going on with my fixing pegs creation process here, but that's fine. I don't know what I did wrong, but we'll figure it out. For right now, I have a lot of fixing pegs. It's fine, I use a lot of them anyway. Alright, next step is toys. So let's get the toy station built. Oh, 4 panels. I knew I'd love this one. 4 panels and 4 frames. Even better. And we have a toy station. Great. We can make dolls or plush ponies. Probably going to do both of those at some point or another. We need wood buttons for both of them either way, and wool blankets for both of them. The difference being pole and stone for the doll versus straw and thread for the pony. And of course different quantities. The easier one right now will be the doll. So let's set up something for that. And that's going to require 2 poles, a stone, wool blankets, and wooden buttons. I do believe I set up a wooden button production somewhere. I set up that it needs to exist, but I didn't actually do it yet. So let's do some of these things. This one's going to be really easy. It's actually going to be very similar to these guys here. Get pegs, put pegs. Really easy, and you get 3 buttons out of that, so I don't actually want to do this very often or for very many repetitions. So for right now, that will be it, actually. I don't want to do until hands full or anything fun like that, just because I don't need them making too many buttons at a time. So if your machine becomes empty, go get a peg, go make some buttons. That's it. Put you in here. Button. Stone. Couple of poles. And then we need a wool blanket, which is going to come from the fleece. And I think it's going to be the clothing station to make it. Clothing station. Put you just right there for now. And then we need to go grab... Wool blanket requires wool. So I need a spinner as well. Wool from fleece. Grab fleece, spin it to wool, grab that wool, make a blanket out of it, grab that, make a doll out of it. It's adorable. And then give that to our lovely colonist over here. Oh my goodness, look at the speed on that. Great. That's going to take some time and effort. Alright. Well, they definitely need to be on a main thoroughfare then. Now that they have a toy, they also need better clothing. So for level 4 better clothing options, we have dresses and robes. Toga, bulrush cloth, and string versus tunic, cotton cloth, and string. So since I'm already doing the togas, we can upgrade that to a robe via additional bulrush cloth and string. Well, clearly my little sewing hut here is not going to cut it anymore. So I'm going to need to expand that out a little bit. How about we do that? Alright, a little bit of expansion here. Now, the only thing I don't know is string. Where does string come from? It's not in the crude clothing station. It's not in the spinning wheel, where I would think string would come from. There's an entire device dedicated to making string. Okay, let's do that. String requires loose weeds. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Well, that means I'm going to have an entire weed setup dedicated just to making string, because I'm sure I'm going to need that in the future. Alright, let's do a string bot first, because that should be relatively easy. String bot, come grab string. And I want to repeat that specifically 5 times, even though your hands are 6. And then come over here and drop it off. We've got our first string. Wonderful. And for right now, we'll do that. If the machine is empty, go make another string. Now he's just going to go get more string. Or weeds to make string. Interesting choice, but that's okay. Alright. So, bot to make the robes. You are going to grab a bulrush cloth, backpack, string, backpack, and then grab a toga. Drop the toga, retrieve, drop, and we have a robe. Now I just need to turn that into real logic. Okay, that should be good. Get the cloth, get the string, get the toga, drop it all onto the station, only if the station is empty. Perfect. Let's grab one of these and go clothe our lovely villager. The speed on this one is not quite as bad as the doll. Okay, so now we have a clothed, robe-wearing villager cradling his lovely doll. Now he just needs food. I already have Chef Berry over here making spice berries, so I figured that the safest bet for a tier 4 food for me would be berry jam, I believe it is. So let's get Chef Berry here working again. And he's already set up so that if the berry storage is full, he'll make more spice berries. So he'll only make the berries whenever there are excess berries to be used. Now we also need to get a better cooking pot. So that's going to require clay, stick, crude, torch. So let me go ahead and make that quick. And that gives us a crude cooking pot where we can make stewed berries, which is spiced berries, fresh water, and clay pot. Let's grab transport berry here and clear him out. So you're going to grab a clay pot and stow that. Grab 2 berries, dump them here, retrieve, dump. And I think that's going to be a simple repeat forever, so as long as there's spiced berries here, go ahead and just turn them straight into stewed berries. That should be fine. And then we also need a bot doing fresh water. So I will grab this guy and clear him out as well. If your hands are full, go get water, and then dump it in the pot until your bucket's empty, and then go get a bucket. Should be easy enough. Now this unfortunately also requires fuel, so I need to do that. Great, and now we have our first stewed berry. Now we need another one. We need another one, and we need to get this thing upgraded multiple times, so let me work on that one too. That's my crude cooking pot, but this one can't do the next tier, so we have to upgrade it yet again. Ooh, and that requires metal ore. Well, isn't this snowball just continuing? Alright, that's fine. Let's do a very simple mining operation. Alright, so you grab a pick wherever the picks happen to be hiding. Ah, they're hiding under this robot. Mine something. Goodness, that took a long time. That was upwards of 30 full seconds for a single piece of iron ore. Great, good to know. And then another bot to pick it all up. Alright, and I haven't mentioned this before, but I'm using the fail condition, so if there's no metal ore to pick up, go ahead and fail out of picking up forever, and go dump what you've got in your hand to the storage box. That'll make sure that he's not holding on to a pile of like 6 of them in his hand, and can't pick up a final one to dump those that I need. Because this just takes forever, and I don't want him holding on to a whole pile of them that I could be using. So that should be fine. He's picked up 2. He's got a 3rd one to pick up, and he's failed out and dropped him. Great. I need 4 of those, so let me go get the other stuff I need first. Great. Now I have a cauldron. And now I can do level 4 stuff, which includes mushroom stew, pumpkin stew, berry jam, and stewed apple. We're going to stick with that berry jam. Going to put you over here. And it needs a building. Of course it does. Why wouldn't it? Alright, fine. We'll put the level 4 colonist stuff right here for now. So that means I need another bot for fueling. Because of course I do. Great, that takes care of the fuel. And then we need someone picking up honey and stewed berries. Stewed berries are here. Honey's all the way over here. And they need a bucket. I might need to up my bucket production with all the buckets I've been using. Fine. Go get yourself some honey. Go drop it into the cauldron until your held object is empty. Hopefully that'll do it. And then we need another one for the stewed berries. And since these weigh 4 each, you can see the hand marker in the lower right corner that I've never actually mentioned before. They weigh 4 each, and these guys can hold 6 weight worth of stuff. So they can only carry 1. So he's going to make multiple trips. And I think you're just going to repeat that forever, wherever you can. Just do it. At least they're faster at moving the heavy stuff than me. That's good. Alright, and we have our giant jug of berry jam that is bigger than me. And we have a colonist to feed. Don't worry about it, I'll get there eventually. Still working on it. Almost there. There we go. Now we have a happy upside down colonist who dumped his clay pot and the giant 1000 WUV. Well then, let's go ahead and dump that in here. First, 1000 WUV from a tier 4 colonist. Done. Now I just need to do that like a few hundred more times. Wonderful. So I think that'll be it for this episode. That was a snowball that went a lot further than I expected. But I got it done. Now we have a tier 4 colonist. So what I will probably do in the meantime is set up some more basic automation and do some planning on cleaning up this this chaotic, very temporary process that I just made. Because it's not good, it's not fast, it's not clean, it's not efficient, it's just bad, and I'm aware of that. But I wanted to know what the heck I was doing first. So now I know what the heck I'm doing, and now I can plan for that. So, thank you for joining me. I will see you next time.